Hey, what's up folks? Jam Book Reviews here, and today I'll be reviewing a book I can't really do justice, Salt by Earl Lovelace. Earl Lovelace, in my opinion, is one of the Caribbean's best and most underrated writers. This is the second novel of his I've read, the first being The Wine of Astonishment, which was excellent and highly recommended. Salt is one of his more critically acclaimed works, as he won the Commonwealth Writers' Prize for it in 1997. So what's this story about? Well, that's kind of difficult to say because the scope of it is so broad and the story follows multiple characters, not to mention the experimental writing style and the use of Trinidadian and English in the prose, but I will try my best to explain it. The novel is a work of political fiction set in Trinidad and Tobago in the independence era and revolves around a character named Alfred George. When the narrative focuses on him, it is a coming-of-age story of sorts, showing how he developed from an awkward child living in a colonial society to a school teacher trying to show his students that the world is bigger than TNT, and then to a politician trying to do right by his people. Alfred, to me, represents those early Caribbean leaders whose talents could have allowed them to be anything they wanted to be, but they chose to give up their personal ambitions to represent the people who needed them. The next perspective is told in first person from an unnamed narrator who is a student of Alfred George. Sometimes, due to the writing style, he seems almost omniscient as he tells Alfred's story, as well as the story of his own family, particularly his uncle Bango. Bango is a rebel type of character with a strong sense of history and identity, and represents an older generation of Caribbean men who were prideful almost to a fault, trying his best to be self-sufficient, working to benefit the community rather than himself, who would have been doomed without his wife, which the author makes clear during the story with many of the characters, showing how important their mothers, sisters, and wives were to their success. But coming back to Bango, he's trying to change the world from below, at the personal level, the grassroots, in contrast to Alfred, who is trying to change it from above, broadly as a politician within the system. The narrator's mother is afraid that Bango's outlook on life will rub off on him because he is always teaching him about Trinidadian history and their ancestry and stuff like that, as he believes that the way to forge a future is through first acknowledging the past for what it is, something that many in power, like the Prime Minister and the upper classes, are afraid to do because it would disrupt the status quo of the island. Alfred and Bango show the experience of Black Trinidad, but the author goes beyond that to give us the perspectives of Indo and White Trinidad through Alfred's friends Sonan and Caraban. They are similar to Alfred in that they are oddities in their communities. Caraban is somewhat the black sheep of his family, who are a part of the planter class, while Sonan is a prodigy of his family who are merchants. And those two, they have to come together with Alfred to fight for a better Trinidad. And that brings me to what I think the story is about: emancipation and independence. What do they mean to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean? Has reparative justice been achieved for the years of slavery and indentureship past generations had to endure? Have successive Caribbean leaders carried out the will of their people, or were they co-opted through neocolonialism? Debates that are hot topics even today were brought forward with such clarity in this novel. It's amazing. It's so well done. Earl Lovelace's skills as a writer are on full display here. His mastery of the economy of words. He did in 260 pages what others would have taken at least, 800 to accomplish. The style is experimental. He utilized flashbacks and heavy foreshadowing to tell the story in a non-linear fashion. And what was particularly interesting was the constant shift from third to first person narration, regardless of whose story was being told. I think the reason he did this was to put the reader in the shoes of each character, in order to better understand everybody's position, from the outside looking in and the inside looking out. So it's a very compact, well-written and deep exploration of Trinidadian society by someone who knows his country intimately. The overall story has a Sisyphean quality to it, which can be interpreted as pessimistic. But I think the author wanted to show that these issues will keep popping up again and again because they are never fully addressed in the first place. And he also gives us hope through characters like Bango and Alfred that they will always be there to, face them head on. So yeah, this is a great novel. Hope you do check it out. Thanks for listening. Until next time.